everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of Chamber Chat. I'm Lauren Grimmick with the Melrose Chamber of Commerce. And on this episode, I'm really happy to introduce to the community John Gately of Gately Funeral Home. And John's with me here. Hi, John.
Hi, Lauren. How are you today?
I am doing well. It's nice to be able to get some of your time. You're a busy guy, a community guy, a family guy. So I'm happy to have you on the show. A lot of times my first question that I ask my guests is kind of what is the business? And I think from the name, we know, what Gately Funeral Home is, but what I think is so incredible is that you're so deeply rooted in the community and there's so much history. You're not a new business. So I want you to kind of walk us down memory lane and tell us about the history of Gately Funeral Home and your family.
Okay. I can give you the long version or brief version, so I'll try to keep it in between.
Sounds good.
So we got a start in 1889. My great-grandfather was a baggage handler at Wyoming train station on Wyoming Ave. People died at Mass General Hospital, came back by train. My grandfather used his horse and wagon. He would furnish a coffin, build, furnish a coffin, and help assist in burying Melrose residents here at Wyoming Cemetery. And if you look way back in the phone book, it says John H. Gately, Undertaker / baggage handler, Wyoming Station.
That's incredible.
Our original office is actually where Waystack is right now, Waystack and Kirby, next to Mary Foley Park. From 1889 to 1950, we were there. My grandmother, Gately, grew up in Wakefield. Funny story about her, when she was 18 years old, working at a sweater factory in Wakefield, everybody got a 10-cent raise, but she got a nickel because she was Irish. She gave her nickel out of her purse to her boss, said, "You need it more than I do." And she got a job at the Melrose, the New England Telephone Company here in Melrose, which is the Melrose Police Station. Wow. So my grandfather would walk up Myrtle Street over the fire station, play cards with the Melrose firefighters. She'd listen in on his phone calls, find out when he's coming up the street, and then they met and got married in 1920.
That's
and then
it's a pretty romantic story when you think about it.
I can see her maybe outside on the stairs of the police station, which was a phone company, maybe with a cigarette going, or "Oh, hi, John, how are you?" And they got married and went on. He had a brother who was Dr. Lyon Gately, a very well-known doctor in Boston, in East Boston. His sister, Clara Gately. Clara sang at all the weddings and funerals. So my grandfather, John Winfield Gately, ran the business. And then he got sick in the early 40s, and my grandmother would get on Wyoming Station at night during World War II, during the blackouts. They had blackened shades, and the train was blackened, and she'd take the train nights and got her funeral director's license. When he died in 44, a young woman, age 44, because she was born in 1900, could take the business over and run it. The building we're in now,
I was going to just
was
say
a
that
doctor's office.
That seems incredible. At that time. I think we've come a long way for women, but for her at that sort of young age to do that, I mean, that right there alone is an incredible achievement.
Yeah, she was very strong. A lot of people knew her in Melrose, very strong-willed, and the building we're in now was a doctor's office she bought in 1950, and it wasn't zoned for business. The Ceratani family was running the grocery store out of the Knights of Columbus basement. So Orlando Ceratani and my grandmother got the block zone BA1 for business. My grandmother moved a funeral home up the street, and Ceratani's built their first store, which is Regina Gifts.
Wow. Well, I think that right there too. I mean, look at that legacy in terms of now, across from Gately, that you've got Balinizzi, Tarpey Insurance, Sullivan and Clark, next to Regina, is the Greenwood building, and then the whole plaza, where Shaw's is. So again, there's her a part of her legacy that she's left here for Melrosians. So that's incredible.
Yeah, no. Yeah. And actually behind us was a triple decker, and she took care of the lady that owned it. When she died, she bought it. and had it raised, so it was just a gravel parking lot. In the meantime, my dad, which was an only child, he did graduate from Malden Catholic. He went to Holy Cross. He got pulled out for World War II. So today is Veterans Day. So he was a World War II Navy veteran. A funny story about my dad, because he was an only child, and the Sullivan brothers in World War II, they wouldn't let him go overseas. So he did his tour of duty at the Chelsea Naval Hospital in Massachusetts and Chelsea, and he'd come home weekends and help his mother run funerals. So, and then, she retired. My dad took it over.
Yep.
And then, unfortunately, in 1980, I just graduated Malden Catholic, my first semester in college. My dad went in for a simple operation, didn't wake up from the anesthesia, coma for 9 weeks, and died November 29th, 1980. I was 18. My grandmother was 80, living above the funeral home because it was her house. Still had her license. She got back into business at age 80. Fully dressed every morning, 7 a.m., ready for work, She had a routine in the morning. She'd go to Civitanni's, Charlotte Bank, and then Brigham's. And she always sat at the counter at Brigham's because that's where all the business guys sat. And she wanted to find out what's going on in the community. She never sat in a booth. She always liked to sit with the guys, And then, as things evolved, my mom went to school in 82, got her funeral director's license. So it was my grandmother, my mother, and myself in the 80s. And then my mother and I until 1999 when she passed. And now it's my son and I. My son's a fifth generation. He's 31 or 32, 31, I think. And turning 32 shortly. Married a wonderful Melrose girl. They live here in Melrose, he's here working full time. I'd be amiss if I didn't mention Fred Sprague, that's been with me for over 25 years. His family owned a funeral home in Malden for many years. His dad was a funeral to his grandfather. When his grandfather died, the business, just went out. And then Fred's been with me, and he's been a staple here and helped so many Melrose families over the years. So that's kind of a quick synopsis. And then we have our service dogs we introduced 12 years ago. Tucker was well known in Melrose. Mogul was a Bernese Mountain Dog. Now Tucker had passed, so now we have Vale, who's an English Cream Golden. And actually today she's requested to be here for visit hours because the family want to see her when they come in the door. These two, they come lumbering down the stairs, and every lie in the back, every pats them from age 2 to 92. It just makes people forget why they're here. It's a tough place to come into. But you come down, here's these, two lovable dogs. We're very careful to ask people if they're allergic or afraid of dogs, and if not, 9 times out of 10, are the dogs here? Can we see the dogs? So it's been nice.
So when, so that was a great history lesson, and there's so many stories within that lesson that I would love to pull out at some point, and talk separately or interview separately on. But, with the service dogs, I think that that's something, I've heard your son speak at Rotary, about the service dogs, but I think for people watching, like what, you certainly didn't have service dogs back in the early 1900s, right? So when did you decide to bring them on staff or as part of the family?
Yeah, so even my grandmother back in the day always had Boston Terriers, so we always had a dog at the funeral home. But when Tucker came around 13 years ago, he was just a big, lovable dog. And, I've read different articles on the benefits of, pets and animals in nursing home settings, or, fast forward to marathon bombing and stuff like that. Sandy Hook, all the golden retrievers were there. So I said, I'm going to experiment. We started bringing them down. There's, service dogs highly trained for people that need them for epilepsy or wheelchairs. There's therapy dogs highly trained, for doing therapy. And there's comfort dogs. So our dogs are comfort dogs. They're trained by us. But we just thought it'd be a nice experiment. As it went on, it worked out great. And then Mogul, the Bernese Mountain Dog, was introduced. So Mogul and Tucker were here. Tucker was well known because at 4 o'clock he went to Giacomo's for 2 meatballs every day. But then when Tucker passed, I had a little bit of a break during the summer. And then my wife and I decided to get another dog. Now we have a female dog named Vale, like the mountain, because we're big skiers. And she's been great. She's sweet. She's so nice. You know, they're both right here over my shoulder, just in another office, hanging out together. You know, but you know, the benefit of it. You know, we started as an experiment and then realized the benefit from it. Prior to COVID, when I met a family in our conference room, I'd ask, "Are you afraid or allergic to dogs?" They said no. The dogs would come downstairs and hang in the conference room with the family and kind of break the ice because they're talking about, you know, their parents or their loved ones and making arrangements. And I saw over the years too, Tucker could find the one that's having the worst time and saddle up next to them and nudge them. And it's a great experience, and it's continued. And, you know, it's been nice. And a lot of great feedback from the community and requests. The dog's going to be there.
No, that's great. And I think it's good that even, you know, it's, you know, to talk business for a second, it's also like, I think a way that, you know, industry, right, things, trends change, things change. And, you know, even though sort of the service that you offer, you know, at a very basic level, you know, the professionalism and the personal services that you provide to families, you know, at a time when they need it most, you're also thinking about, well, what is happening in the industry, or what are some things that we can do to make the experience or make what we do better. And I think that, you know, having the Comfort Dogs is certainly indicative of that. You know, as one of the longest running businesses in Melrose, you're certainly someone who's also, you know, very involved in the community. You know, you touched upon the meatballs at Giacomo's. I mean, you're always doing, I feel like, a lot of community things. You had those nights where you were waiting table, right, and raising money.
Yeah.
And, you know, most recently you were our sponsor for our sidewalk sales that we had in August, trying to get people back out and shopping. You know, what do you know, as a fellow business owner, I mean, why, you know, you could just kind of keep doing what you're doing, but it's clear that the small business community is important to you.
Yeah, I feel blessed that, you know, we are here in Melrose. Melrose has been a wonderful community. We've had wonderful leaders throughout the years. The chamber has done a phenomenal job with keeping the downtown vital. You know, in the early 80s, it wasn't as vital as it is now. But I love, you know, walking downtown on a Saturday morning, seeing all these families out with their strollers and kids and dogs. And I think doing that shopping is phenomenal. You know, let's remember, I know there's a mall down the street, but there's plenty of goods and services right here in Melrose let's shop Melrose first, take care of Melrose first. And all the family businesses that have opened up over the years, you know, Coffee Tea and Me, and now Lorenzo and Emily are down revitalizing Franklin Square. I mean, people love going to Franklin Square. You know, Ernie's Lunch has been there forever, but, you know, to kind of revitalize that area. But I think that downtown is vital to our community, and to keep it going in the forward direction. Today is Veterans Day. We finished up our Veterans fundraiser, and that Giacomo's was a Veterans fundraiser. And I was struggling this year what to do, so we did matching donations. I'm going to match whatever was donated.
Great.
And it wasn't going all that great. And then somebody came in with a large donation. So we actually raised $6,600 from Melrose Veterans Fund. So it was, you know, 3,304 or something, and then we matched, you know, to bring it up to 6,600. And there again, all that money goes to veterans for food cards and oil assistance, or they need a car repaired. And Karen is wonderful at the veterans office down there. But Merrill's itself, I mean, Home for the Holidays, you know, Victorian Fair, everything that you do to bring people down here to keep our community great. I mean, number 4 zip code in the United States, it's not too bad.
Not too shabby. No, and you're right. I mean, I've always known that that you've, you know, understood the importance of, you know, a strong downtown, a strong local economy. You're certainly one of those people that we see out and about, especially when you're walking the dogs, or, you know, you and your wife or your family are enjoying dinner. Your son John always comments on, you know, the stroll is one of their favorite events. So it's nice to see, that you're not only, you're not only a business, you're not only supporting fellow businesses and raising money, but you're kind of enjoying, being here as well. Which is
Yeah,
great.
very much so. Yeah.
Well, I always hate when we come to the end because, MMTV only gives me a certain amount of time because they know that I could like go on for hours. I think you probably could too. We could probably
Oh,
chat.
we could just sit out at Bruegger's or Starbucks or wherever,
Right,
yeah,
right.
Turner's with a
Tapas,
glass of wine and talk forever. You know?
Yep, and keep talking. And again, I think that you've got an incredible legacy that you've continued to build in terms of the business and the roots and just everything that you and your family do for Melrose. So I personally thank you as a citizen, and I thank you as a chamber. And we'll have to have you back on the show again. So
Well, thank you for this opportunity, and enjoy your Veterans Day, and everybody have a safe Thanksgiving. Things are upticking again, so we all have to kind of bear down. It's hard, but spend time with family. That's the best.
that is the most important. For those of you who are watching, thank you so much for your support of the chamber and of our small businesses here in Melrose. And until next time, I'm Lauren Grimick, and thank you for watching.